We begin with Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, who is in the hot seat today, defending her record in the second day of her confirmation hearings.
Republicans and Democrats on the Judiciary Committee have 30 minutes each to question the judge. Senator Ted Cruz, who attended law school with the judge 1 year apart, spent a lot of his time asking her about critical race theory.
My understanding is that critical race theory is it is an academic theory that is about the ways in which race interacts with various institutions. It doesn't come up in my work as a judge. It's never something that I've studied or relied on, and it wouldn't be something that I would rely on if I was on the Supreme Court.
CBS News legal contributor Rebecca Roiphe joins us now. Rebecca, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Senator Cruz brought up a book called Anti-Racist Baby and asked Judge Jackson if she believes babies are racist. The judge's response to this started with a pretty audible sigh. Republicans are complaining about the way Justice Amy Coney Barrett was treated during her confirmation. But a question like this really seems a little beneath a senator questioning a judge for a position on the highest court in the country. What was the point of this line of questioning?
I think that there are basically two strategies going on here. One is a kind of teaser for the upcoming elections. And so this is a talking point that has served Republicans well. Critical race theory is something that is, it describes many different things, but it is certainly something real. And it is something that has scored the Republicans a lot of points. So by bringing it up, in some ways, it has nothing to do with these confirmation hearings, nothing to do with Judge Jackson, and is really about trying to score some political points. I suppose other than that, there has also been this sort of effort to portray her as the most extreme candidate. She is somehow the baby of the extreme left. And this, I think, is in some ways working as a way to convince certain Republican senators, or at least justify it when those senators vote against her confirmation. So I think they're twin goals, and I think the first goal might be successful, sort of portraying this as a political issue, and the second goal, I think, as indicated by her sigh, is really not, because this has nothing to do, her beliefs on the topic have nothing to do with her judicial philosophy. As she said, she has never cited anything in this regard, certainly not anti-racist baby, in any of her opinions, as she repeatedly said. So I think, in some ways she comes off, she did seem a little frustrated in that line of questioning, but, I think it's hard for anybody watching not to blame her, and she really did refocus things on what was at issue in these hearings, which is, her qualifications to be a Supreme Court justice.
And Rebecca, Judge Jackson, if she is confirmed, will bring a unique experience to the highest court as a former public defender. Can you weigh in on what sort of perspective and what sort of experience that could lend to a Supreme Court justice? Because we know we did hear Republicans criticizing her work defending, the prisoners at Gitmo. But there is an actual, legal and constitutional basis in this country that everyone is entitled to a legal defense. So can you tell us what that particular experience might bring to the nation's highest court?
Yeah, absolutely. So first, just to address that question about whether this affects her qualifications, her representing an unpopular defendant. Obviously, as she quickly responded, we have a system in which our constitutional order, it depends on everybody, especially the most despised people, getting good representation. And that creates a strong legal system, because our rights and liberties are protected in those moments, and not just the rights and liberties of people, terrorists, but rather all of our rights and liberties. So it is particularly important that we have smart people in those positions, and they not be afraid that they will later be attacked because of some connection people want to make between them and their clients, which is inappropriate. But in terms of background, I think diversity is a really important thing on the Supreme Court. And when I say that, I don't mean simply racial diversity, I think a diversity of thought, diversity of background, diversity of perspectives. And, this is unique to the Supreme Court, and therefore I think is a welcome addition. And, especially in cases having to do with criminal procedure, criminal justice, her perspective is a different one. And I think, as she said repeatedly, she is not anti-law enforcement. She has many family members who have law enforcement past and present. And so she's sympathetic to and proud of those who protect our communities. But she has also seen the ways in which the system fails from the perspective of a defense attorney. And I think that will help her to offer a different perspective, at least in those sorts of cases. And it's useful. I mean, even if it's not easy to say, trace any one opinion to her background, I do think it's useful that she might bring up issues that other people fail to see because she's experienced them in that particular line of work.
Right. You makes such a good point about diversity of experience on the court and how important that is. And thought, yes. Well, Rebecca Roiphe, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it as always. And we will have coverage throughout the week here on CBS News. And remember, if you want to stream the hearings uninterrupted, you can always head on over to cbsnews.com/hearing or download the free CBS News app.